Greetings, Centennial State, and welcome to the Colorado Report. I'm Dave Rex. Twice a week, we bring you select headlines and side stories from the Rocky Mountain State. Thank you for joining us. Democratic Governor Jared Polis said Wednesday, if lawmakers pass a proposal to end the state's death penalty, he'll commute the sentence of convicted murderer Nathan Dunlap to life in prison. If the state Republicans and Democrats were to say, and I were to sign, a bill that said we no longer have the death penalty in Colorado, I would certainly take that as a strong indication that those who are currently on death row should have their sentences commuted to life in prison. Dunlap was sentenced to death for murdering 4 people in Aurora in 1993. Polis' predecessor, John Hickenlooper, favored the death penalty when he entered the office, but later changed his mind. As a result, he delayed Dunlap's execution, but stopped short of commuting his sentence. Because Democrats control both houses of the legislature, they could revoke the death penalty without Republican votes. However, Polis predicted the measure would win support from both sides of the aisle. A death penalty bill is expected, but hasn't been introduced yet. The same holds true for a proposal to tighten control over oil and gas development. The measure is expected to make health and safety the top consideration in state permitting decisions, and to increase local power over the location of drilling rigs. Polis said those are both priorities he wants to set. The governor expressed some skepticism about an idea floated to deal with the state's $7.5 billion backlog in transportation projects. The Denver Business Journal reports that House Speaker K.C. Becker of Boulder is talking to business leaders and other lawmakers about a measure that would ask voters to forego refunds they're eligible for under the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights. The money would then be spent for transportation and education. The governor said he's not foreclosing the idea, but he noted that the availability of refund money varies with the economy. He also needs to be convinced, Polis said, that voters would approve Becker's proposal. Quote, is this something the voters would want to do, or is this something that would fail at the ballot box? We want to make sure that this is something that has broad popular support and wins. The only transportation ideas Polis said he has ruled out are the 2 that voters rejected last November. One would have raised the state's sale tax, while the other would have allowed Colorado to issue bonds for transportation improvements and repay the debt from existing state funds. Polis, who took office on January 8th after 10 years as a congressman, said he's excited by the quicker pace of state government. The first bill he signed as governor, to change the way the state taxes beer, passed unanimously and quickly. Quote, you know these things in Washington get bogged down. It takes 3 years sometimes. The legislature got that to my desk and done in about 2 weeks. Polis has spent much of his first month in office promoting what he calls his top priority, setting aside $227 million in state money to pay for any school district that wants to offer full-day kindergarten. The governor said he's passionate about the idea because research shows full-day kindergarten boosts student achievement, because it saves parents the money they'd spend for kindergarten tuition or childcare, and because it's unfair that he can afford kindergarten for his children while others miss out on the experience. Quote, it's a convergence of everything, from data, which is where I start as somebody who's fundamentally analytical, to the person, to the kind of cost living side, Polis said. Denver teachers will strike on Monday after school district and union leaders failed to reach an agreement in a last-ditch bargaining session Saturday. This will be the first teacher strike in 25 years in Colorado's largest district, and likely the first in the country to turn on the issue of incentive pay for educators. The Denver School District offered what Superintendent Susana Cordova called a significant proposal just minutes before Saturday's bargaining session was originally scheduled to end. She said she had decided to eliminate performance bonuses for executive staff and cut even deeper into administrative expenses, eliminating 150 central office jobs. Teachers cheered the announcement, standing and clapping. But when she said the money from executives' performance bonuses would be put into increasing a bonus for teachers working in schools identified as a highest priority to $3,000, a bonus the teachers union has been trying to decrease, the mood in the room changed again. And when the district's attorney, Michelle Berg, explained the proposal by referring to, quote, tough concessions for a lot of us, but for those of us who just took a big pay cut, the teachers jeered, cutting her off and saying it wasn't true. Quote, nothing else matters if that's what their attitude is, one teacher in the crowd said. The union team spent more than an hour and a half reviewing the district's proposal, which officials said would invest more money into teacher pay over the next 3 years. Ultimately, Henry Roman, the union president, said it seemed to him the district, quote, deliberately constructed a proposal that seemed to significantly change things when it did not. Cordova said she was extremely disappointed that the union wasn't willing to continue negotiating. Quote, this is the most important thing we can be doing right now. She added that this dispute would end in an agreement sooner or later, and questioned why there was need to wait. Union officials asked Cordova to agree to the concepts they wanted to change, offering a salary schedule with more opportunities for teachers to earn raises by changing lanes on the schedule, and allowing teachers to use in-district training to do that. If she could not agree to these concepts, union officials said it was a waste of time to stay. Cordova pled with the union negotiators to stay as long as it took to reach an agreement, and said she would need time to consider the union's counterproposal, but she refused to agree to anything specific at the moment. She also criticized what appeared to her like several $1 million in new cost in the union counterproposal. Quote, we brought millions of dollars to the table today, Cordova said. What you've effectively done is you've increased the cost to make us further apart. Saturday's negotiations repeated a pattern that has occurred several times during bargaining, with district leaders making what they see as significant concessions only for members of the bargaining team to dismiss them as too little, or as not as good for teachers as they might appear on the surface. The district's last offer on Saturday night would put an additional $23.5 million into teachers' salaries next year. The union's last counterproposal did not have a price tag associated with it, but previous union proposals have not come lower than $28 million. In the end, Rob Gould, the union's lead negotiator, said if the district really needed more time, quote, they can have it until Tuesday. Teachers clapped and cried and emptied the room within minutes. The union is now preparing to start a strike on Monday morning. Union leaders said they would consider returning to bargaining on Tuesday. The district and union are not negotiating their master contract this year, but rather how to revamp ProComp, Denver Public Schools' system of bonuses and incentives that teachers receive on top of their base salary. The union wants to shrink the number and size of incentives and significantly boost teachers' base salaries. The district wants to keep certain incentives more robust. Cordova has said she thinks extra pay is key to attracting and retaining good teachers at high-poverty schools. But the data on other teacher retention at schools where teachers currently get a highest priority incentive is mixed, increasing the size of the incentive. In explaining the district's proposal Saturday, Cordova said she had completed her evaluation of each department in the district and now said the district would cut 150 positions to save the district about $20 million. She promised the cuts would not be made to employees such as janitors or teachers' aides, but she said the central office employees that would be cut are still some who interact regularly with schools. She said the impact will be noticeable. That new money would go into slightly higher base salaries for teachers than previously proposed. Union leaders characterized their time as wasted. Friday's bargaining session and the first 3 hours Saturday had been spent discussing details of how teachers might get salary increases, with credits from the district's teacher training or professional development units. But the big district proposal Saturday overlooked the details from those discussions. District officials say one of their concerns is that if they allow teachers to get raises too easily by accumulating credits from district training, too many teachers would be getting salary increases each year and costs would balloon. Union negotiators don't think that concern is realistic. Gould, the union's lead negotiator, estimated that under the district's plan, it would take teachers 300 hours of training outside of the work week to get a raise in 1 year. Quote, "Your concern is everyone is going to run right out and do 5 PDUs per year," Gould said. "Teachers are already stretched to the max. There's no possible way." For the final segment on this Sunday edition of the Colorado Report, we like to read an obituary. This week, it is Dorothea Catherine Stein Dunn Barrett. Dorothea was born on February 18th, 1922, and passed away on Monday, February 4th, 2019. Dorothea was a resident of Colorado at the time of passing. She attended school in Garnett, Kansas, where she met her husband, Raymond Dunn. Burial was concluded on February 8th, 2019. And that's it for this Wednesday edition of the Colorado Report. You can check out links and show notes for this and all episodes at thecoloradoreport.com. You can send your emails to coloradoreport@gmail.com. You can tweet me. The handle is @thecoreport. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you soon.